Fires often followed earthquakes, as I had painful reason to know. If one had started, there was no telling how close it might be to me. I sniffed, certain I could smell smoke even in the stale air of my refuge. It took longer than I expected, but at last I worked my way through the worst of the rubble and squinted through a broken board at the world outside. It was dark. For a moment, this confusing fact occupied all my mind. I blinked, but painful sunlight did not replace the soothing darkness. Could my time sense have been so altered? Then I heard the wailing. Voices cried out in pain, called out for mothers and fathers, wept for sons and daughters. Not an earthquake, I thought then. An enemy attack. I pushed the final boards away and dared to look outside. I said long ago that we Fujiwaras are poets, that we love words. But whatever words I write here can never be anything but pale ghosts of the terrible reality I saw. The sky was black with smoke and dust, the sun burning through only as a sickly orange glow. The houses around my ruined shelter were ruined now as well, flattened as if some great wind had passed and blown them down. Boards and pots and burned clothing and personal possessions littered the streets. Figures were passing by, and for a moment I thought that it was the night parade of the 100 demons, that a superstition of centuries ago had come to life before me. Then I realized they were not demons passing me, but people. People burned black and rust red, their hair scorched and gray with ash. People with skin that hung like rags from their arms, revealing the crimson flesh and white bone beneath. Women carrying children with lolling heads and blank eyes, gone far away from the comfort their mothers crooned through lips broken and bleeding from thirst. A group of schoolgirls limped past, weeping in pain from the shards of glass embedded in their naked backs. On the ground sprawled bodies so black and twisted I could not tell whether they lay on their backs or prone in the dirt. From the wreckage of the houses around me came faint cries for help, pleas that barely touched the empty-eyed survivors shuffling past. A weeping man dug at the shattered remains of his home, his hands bleeding. I struggled from the embrace of the rubble and emerged into nightmare. There was nothing but destruction as far as I could see, devastation and fires and bodies. The smell of burning flesh drifted on the faint breeze. When I clambered on top of the remains of my shelter, I could see the river several blocks away, bloated with the drowned who had thrown themselves into it seeking relief as their bodies flamed. Whatever had done this was not an incendiary bomb, or the concentrated bombing that had turned Tokyo into a firestorm. It seemed a long time that I sat on the rubble and watched the walking corpses pass. For so they seemed to me, even the ones who looked undamaged. I could smell the death on them. At last I looked to my left and saw that the line of fires had reached the base of what had been this street. With numb practicality, I crawled back into my refuge and retrieved my case of clothes and belongings. There was nothing to do but join the stream of refugees leaving the city. I walked for a long time, passing the slow-moving procession until it seemed I led it along the dusty road. The sky had gradually begun to lighten, and I realized I would soon have to seek shelter again. But first, I would have to feed.